Okay, in this video, I'm going to talk about a taboo subject for some people, which is DMs, direct messages. I'm going to give you my experience of the last few years of everything that I've done. I've done a lot when it comes to sending DMs, from cold emails to warm emails to loom videos to cold DMs to phoning prospects, you name it, I have done it. And I'm also going to tell you why I came to the decision to stop doing it. The industry is changing. We're in 2026 now, and the buyer sophistications, awareness, and levels have changed across the board from a B2B perspective and a B2C perspective. So let's get stuck in. I'm going to give you all the history of what I've done in the last few years to try and get clients. Because at the end of the day, you send DMs to try and get clients. So let's get stuck in. Okay, so before I lay it all out, I think we should probably look at a couple of timelines here. So I want to look at before, everything I've kind of done before. Maybe you can adapt this stuff. By the way, before I go any further, I want you to understand that just because I'm doing this in my business now, in my experience, in my niche or whatever, does not mean you have to strip everything apart. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but don't take this as like me telling you what to do, right? This is just my experience. So we have before, problem, after, kind of where we are now, so after and now. And then we have result. So like, what is the result of doing that stuff? So first of all, where were we before? So let's do that in blue. Well, before I was I had one appointment set up in the DMs because that was the thing to do as an online business. I was a bit weird about it at first, having someone in your DMs who is responding to prospects, speaking to them, asking them how their business is and stuff. But it's the norm. But at first I had one appointment setter who was in there a couple of hours a day. It was someone from the Philippines. They would check in, send an end of day report, and that was cool. And then it slowly went from one appointment setter to two appointment setters. So I would have someone in the morning, AM and AM, and then I'd have someone in PM at night. So they'd split that up. And that's fine. Again, it was like, well, if this is working okay, let's double the volume. Or if this is working not bad, well, let's try, later times, let's test more. And one thing to say about all of this, I wanted to grow my business. Like, I don't care. As long as it stays within my ethics and my values, if I pay for a service that tells me, look, this person got this result by doing this process, I will do it. Like, I will do anything it takes to get results to grow the business. So I had two appointment setters, and by the way, this is on Instagram, and that was going okay. Like, it was fine. Some of the setters weren't amazing. They would phone sick, and then they would be unpredictable, and then they would one thing what's crazy about appointment setting is it's such an important job for the business, but it often gets handed off to people who are not committed. They hate the job. They can't be bothered with it. They have far too much freedom and flexibility as well. So I went from having people from the Philippines, which is fine, to then having UK-based people. So I was like, right, I don't want any more people in the Philippines in case my account gets shut down or whatever. Plus, there was just a big learning curve to the way that I speak and the way that I wanted my offer presented. So on Instagram, I had two appointment setters. They then became UK-based, which massively improved it. And then from there, I needed these people managed. So then I had one sales manager who managed these sales reps. Then I had one closer, so closing the clients. So these people would set appointments on Instagram, and then they book calls, and the closer would take the calls. And then the sales manager would make sure that everybody's doing their job, hitting KPIs and targets. So another thing to note here is everybody's working towards KPIs. And this was kind of what I had. This was the core of it for quite some time. Then things started getting a little bit interesting and escalating. So then we introduced email. So this was email. And this was specifically a tactic I learned from someone I bought their course. It was Loom email. Now what this is essentially you film a Loom video for people to watch. You have their details on the screen, and you send these emails out to prospects. So you scrape people's emails off of just a site. It's just perfectly legit. And then you send all these people an email. So I was sending 50 Looms per day. Now, the people who had been using Loom emails as a strategy had made a lot of money. So I was doing this while I had all this happening. Okay, so the interesting thing is like, in order to do that process, you had to have a Loom scraper who was getting all the emails. You had to have a Loom recorder, and then you had to have a Loom sender. And you would not believe the trouble it went to. I got in so deep that I just had to finish it, had to follow it through, because I was like, no way people are doing this. So if I do it, I'll be the only one, or at least one of few. So you do all that, and then you have like 30 different Gmail accounts, and you have to do all these VPN things and stuff like that. By the way, this is a legit process. People make a lot of money from this. And so I tried that. So this was all happening, 50 emails per day, Loom videos. We had appointment setter, 2 appointment setter, sales manager, closer. And the final thing we added here was someone doing outbound dialing. They were dialing leads, so anybody who came in from like lead magnets and things like that. So what happened was, like, by the way, when I got this team, the appointment setters were great, really good, like, and so was the sales manager, closer was fine. And so when all this came together, it wasn't, what I'm about to say here isn't about these people or the processes, it was just me, what I actually wanted. So to do this stuff right, you've obviously got to have meetings to ensure that everybody's working to the KPIs. So before you know it, I had 2 meetings per week to manage all of this. And it just got to a point, I remember one Monday going on a meeting and just going, what the hell have I built here? What the hell have I built? What the hell am I doing here? And this was the scenario. And this was obviously all client acquisition. This was the big idea. Moving on to, let's go for a brown font here. What were the problems with this? Well, first of all is my life. Do I want to jump on meetings every single week about this stuff? Now, by the way, I will say this as well. Like, people in the space who do all of this will do what it takes and they will win. And if they look at this stuff daily, they will win. But that's not the life I want. Like, I don't want this in my life. And it's nothing against people. I have tried it all. I just didn't enjoy it. Now, will it take me longer to grow the business without this stuff? Yes. But I have to do other things to make it work. So the number one reason I stopped doing it all was my life. I was in Spain, and on a Friday trying to have a beach day, and I'll just see all these messages and having to deal with all these people. So straight away, this here, like, if you think of these numbers here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people that you have to think about, invoice and send, salaries to and all that sort of stuff. That's just acquisition. That's not even like client fulfillment. So I was like, that's enough. So my life was being impacted. It wasn't the type of business that I wanted to run. Also, I guess there's a bit of values there. Now, not the values in the wishy-washy sense. Like, people won't even send a DM now because of values, right? They clearly don't have what it takes to grow, and that's fine. Like, just know that it'll take a lot longer. But everybody's got their own values with it, and to be honest with you, like, I don't want to be meshing people who don't want to sign up to my stuff. Like, I don't want to sit there. I don't want to send 5 follow-up, 6 follow-up messages. Now, I've been in the business for 10 years. Do you have to do that at some point? Absolutely. But I'm 10 years in. And this brings up my next point. Life and values were impacted by it. But honestly, like, for me, I want to get to the point where my content should do enough. Like, your content has to be better. So I'll just draw these stars here. Because if you don't do all of that, then you have to improve something. You have to make something compelling enough for people to actually want to work with you. So for me, it was about, like, all of this stuff is like, here's your problem, here's the solution, here's our offer. So it's very, very proactive. Like, it's fantastic in the sense of you going out and finding it. When you compare this here, right, to what people do right now, is they post an Instagram reel or they post a carousel and they hope someone will fill in their inquiry form. That is it. I've said this on this channel millions of times about paid ads and stuff, but this is free. So all they do is post a couple of times a week. Some people might even post 7. Some people post twice per week. And they sit there waiting for applications to get filled in. This is okay for teeny wee businesses who will never get past 10k a month. That's okay. That's your thing. And by the way, if that fits your life and your values, crack on, like 100%. But you have to understand I've got way bigger goals than that in terms of financial goals. So there is a trade-off with any business practice. And for me, it was about, don't like the sound of this, don't really love it, but I'm going to try it because I want to do anything to grow because I'm ambitious and I want to keep pushing, right? So for me, the problem was that life and values were impacted, but I also knew that content had to increase. So I want to give you a mirror reflection of this and what I had to do in the sense of growing the business. So what I then had to do was, instead of doing all of this, I had to post 30 reels per month. So I hired a personal brand company to script and edit my reels, 30 of them per month. By the way, that's not including like 5 to 6 carousels per month. That's not including client results. So I was getting my graphic designer to make sort of probably 3 to 4 really, really well created results as well per month. So, look at all the times I'm posting, 40 times per month. So because you have to increase the volume if I was lowering all of this stuff. Now, the problem then becomes is when all this traffic starts generating leads or conversations, where do they go? Well, they kind of have to go somewhere. They either go in your inbox or they go in your messaging. Now, the problem here is that you don't have anybody to talk to them. So then comes in like, okay, is it me that has to talk to them? That's cool, right? That's fine. But we have to also understand that your life suffers as well. So this is really just a juggling, balancing act of where you're at in your business, what phases you're going through, and what you have to push now. So let's move this stuff along here and start to get a clearer picture of where I'm at now. The funny thing is, I'd done the whole 30 reels thing. The result, it didn't really drive much more. I got views, which were great, probably more authority because people were able to say, look how consistent that is. His posts are everywhere. He's shown that, he's spreading his expertise, whatever. That was cool. Probably more leads in the sense of, emails and people replying to stuff. We were able to test a lot of content, and then testing led to ads. So we picked the best performing content and then we run it as ads. So we had a playground almost to just run. But honestly, because the state the DMs got to, now this just might be my industry specific, but DMs were getting harder and harder. Why? Because there was a lot of people in my space actually teaching you how to get your own appointment setters, how to send DMs, how to build the same infrastructure that I've just shown you there. So because I'm B2B, what was happening was the prospects were just they just knew it wasn't me. They were like, there's no way this guy is sitting there replying to me in DMs and following up with me. So it got harder and harder. Now, I want to also caveat this, by the way, right? There's a guy in my space who done a video recently who has 15 appointment setters, I think 5 closers, and sends 400 DMs a day because some of them are ManyChat, so he's got a sneaky way through to send as many the platform will allow you. That's fine. He's doing a lot of money. Great, good on him. That is not the life I want. So what else have we done to try and combat this? I've now realised I've got so many pens open. It's all good. Let's move along here and use less pens. So what's my plan now? Well, trust me, sometimes it feels like when you're not sending DMs, you're not being very proactive because you're waiting for people to come to you. But honestly, I'm at my stage in my life right now with business that I want that to be the case. I want to find these ideal people, show them the stuff for them to come to me. So the big play now is YouTube. The big play here is Reels, but Reels are just a testing ground and they are point of view style, personal brand style, story based. So almost like you would post it on your Instagram story. Why? So that we can build trust and people can see the real authentic approach. Honestly, I have spent now 4 months straight of doing personal brand style content, highly edited, highly polished, really professional. And it just didn't get me anywhere. So it's just my experience with it. So from there, we also have email. We have, of course, the main event, which is paid ads. Now, these paid ads right now are a VSL. They will soon be a workshop. We're going to test the workshop, see how the workshop goes. From there, we'll potentially do a webinar, an evergreen webinar. So that's essentially where we're at right now. Now, obviously, me posting a YouTube video isn't prospecting. It's just sharing value. Me sending an email, I can call people to action. That's cool. It's fine. But there is no DM involved with that. Paid ads, I can, do straight, obviously, here's a VSL, book a call type thing. That's great. I can obviously have an application form where, I can reach out to people, but it would have to be me. Reels and stuff, you're just pressing that out. Over here with these reels, you can also have a lead magnet where people opt in and you can start a conversation as well. And then a workshop and then the webinar, obviously, where, at the end of the webinar, I can pitch. So that's the approach versus all of that. Now, this right here only needs one thing. This here is all on me. Now, of course, I need to create slides. I need ads edited and stuff, but it is all on me. Now, if someone goes through this full ecosystem here and comes out the end and enjoys it, watches a YouTube video, discovers me from an ad, sees the VSL, doesn't click on it, comes to the workshop and enjoys it but doesn't buy, comes to the webinar, gets a pitch from me. You can see here, this is my play now. Is it going to take longer? Yeah, I definitely think so. Do I want to send DMs anymore? Nope. So if you're watching this and you're like, oh, I'm going to DM Chris, it will be me. I no longer want to go back to that position. Now, to end this whole thing here, do what suits your business at the given time. Now, I would probably say the time that we made the most money was round about here. Now, what you've also got to take into consideration is round about this point here, from this point to that point, is a substantial amount of time, which means the market caught up and got used to it. Now, for me as well, most of our market is in the UK, and they are skeptical. They can see through any nonsense and stuff. So that's the position we're at now. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll enjoy that one as well. Speak to you soon.